The halls of the Xenerian royal palace seemed to stretch forever, their crystalline arches glowing with layered shades of violet, indigo, and soft cyan. Every surface reflected light in fractured brilliance, creating the unsettling feeling of walking through a living gemstone. Finch moved carefully across the polished floor, each step echoing louder than he liked. He was acutely aware that hundreds of alien eyes tracked his movement from every angle. This was not just another diplomatic visit. One mistake, one misunderstood gesture or mispronounced tone, and Earth's fragile relationship with the Xenerian Empire could fracture beyond repair. Finch had been selected for this mission for a reason. His record was flawless: 23 successful first-contact negotiations, a dozen interstellar peace accords, and 0 diplomatic incidents. When humanity needed calm under pressure, they sent Finch. Yet standing alone in the heart of an alien court, surrounded by beings whose biology he only understood academically, that confidence felt thinner than ever. At the center of the chamber sat Queen Zelvira, enthroned upon living crystal that pulsed faintly beneath her form. 6 luminous eyes studied him with an expression Finch could not decipher. Her bioluminescent skin rippled with shifting patterns, emotional signals he had trained to recognize, but not yet interpret reliably. Around her stood dozens of nobles, their flowing garments resembling liquid metal, faces serene and unreadable. "Human Finch of Earth," the Queen's translator announced in smooth, perfect English, though her true voice resonated in layered harmonic tones. "You seek trade accords and cultural exchange. We observe your species with interest." Finch bowed precisely as protocol dictated, 30 degrees, hands relaxed at his sides, eyes lowered for exactly 3 seconds. "Your Majesty," he replied evenly, "humanity is honored by your audience. We hope today marks the beginning of a lasting partnership between our civilizations." A sound passed through the court, soft, musical, and untranslated. The nobles shifted slightly, their robes whispering like wind through crystal leaves. Finch felt a bead of sweat form despite the palace's carefully regulated climate. Then something happened that no briefing had prepared him for. Small, rapid footsteps echoed across the chamber, accompanied by excited, high-pitched chirping. The palace fell into absolute silence. Against every instinct and every rule drilled into him, Finch lifted his gaze, and his heart nearly stopped. A small Xenerian child was running directly toward him. She barely reached Finch's waist, her movements energetic and unrestrained, completely at odds with the rigid formality of the throne room. Her skin glowed with bright, joyful yellow patterns, pulsing with unmistakable excitement. Her wide, multifaceted eyes were fixed on Finch alone. Behind her, a royal attendant sprinted in panic, bioluminescent signals flashing in frantic patterns Finch didn't need training to recognize as alarm. Time seemed to slow. Every briefing flooded Finch's mind at once. Xenerian children were sacred. Shielded. Never exposed to outsiders. Royal offspring were hidden from public view until adulthood. Contact with alien species, especially humans, was strictly forbidden. And yet here she was. This could only be Princess Frozen, the Queen's only child. Every diplomatic instinct screamed at Finch to step back, to create distance, to let the attendant intervene. Any contact could be interpreted as a violation. An insult. Or worse, an act of aggression. But his body didn't move. The child reached him and, without hesitation, wrapped her small arms around his leg. She chirped happily, her bioluminescence warming into soft golden hues. The throne room froze. Finch stood perfectly still, barely daring to breathe. He could feel the collective shock ripple through the court like a physical force. Even the translators went silent, as if the technology itself couldn't process what was happening. Queen Zelvira rose from her throne in one fluid motion. For the first time, Finch could clearly read her expression. Horror. Fear. And something else, uncertainty. The attendant halted, hands raised in helpless surrender. Guards tensed, weapons half reached for but not drawn. No one knew whether this moment signaled catastrophe or something entirely new. The princess looked up at Finch and chirped again. This time, the translator responded. Soft. Warm. Friend. Finch's chest tightened. Against every political calculation, something deeply human took over. Slowly, carefully, he lowered himself to one knee so he was eye level with her. Protocol be damned. Hello, he said gently. I'm Finch. The child's glow brightened further, cycling through sunny yellows and soft oranges. She reached up with delicate fingers, touching his face with open curiosity, fascinated by his non-luminescent skin. Frozen. The queen's voice cut through the chamber like a blade. She was moving toward them with startling speed. Finch braced himself. For arrest. For outrage. For interstellar disaster. But none of that came. Queen Elvira stopped just short of them. She stared at her daughter, then at Finch, 6 eyes reflecting something universal, wonder. Princess Frozen remained blissfully unaware of the tension she had unleashed, her glow steady and joyful. She lifted her arms, attempting to hug both Finch and her mother at once. The queen spoke again, but this time the translator remained silent. Instead, she made a gesture Finch recognized instantly from his briefings, a hand placed over the heart, then extended outward. Peace. Trust. Acceptance. Around the chamber, the nobles' colors softened. The sharp tension that had electrified the air slowly dissolved, replaced by murmurs and shifting light. Queen Elvira knelt beside her daughter and the human ambassador, studying Finch with all 6 eyes. When no outsider has touched a royal child in 1,000 years, the translator finally conveyed, and when no royal child has ever sought an outsider, meaning must be found. Her gaze softened as Frozen giggled, attempting to tangle Finch's hair between her fingers. My advisors warned me, the queen continued. They said humans were volatile. Dangerous. Unpredictable. She paused, watching her daughter's unrestrained happiness. But my child understands something we have forgotten. Her bioluminescence shifted to warm golds and purples. That fear of the unknown is not wisdom. Sometimes, courage is choosing to embrace what we do not yet understand. Something in Finch's chest loosened. He smiled, genuinely, freely, as Frozen chirped in triumph at successfully capturing a lock of his hair. Your Majesty, Finch said softly, children often see truths adults bury beneath caution. Perhaps our peoples are not so different after all. The queen's patterns shifted in a way Finch was certain now was a smile. Perhaps, human Finch, she replied. This moment is the foundation of friendship you spoke of. The chamber, once rigid with protocol, now glowed with possibility. Under the gaze of hundreds of nobles, a Xenarian princess hugged the human ambassador, and history quietly changed course. Frozen chirped again, the translator finally keeping pace. Best friend. Always. Finch laughed, the sound echoing warmly through the crystalline hall. For the first time since entering the palace, he felt something he hadn't expected, hope. Real, unguarded hope. Not built on treaties or trade clauses, but on a simple, undeniable truth. Understanding doesn't always begin with words. Sometimes, it begins with trust. The queen rose slowly, helping her daughter to her feet. Guards relaxed their stances. Courtiers resumed quiet conversation, their colors bright with curiosity rather than suspicion. The Xenarian court had not just witnessed a diplomatic anomaly. They had witnessed a beginning. As Finch stood, Frozen's small hand still gripping his sleeve, he realized something profound. Humanity did not need to dominate the stars to belong among them. It needed only to be what it had always been at its best, adaptive, compassionate, and unafraid to meet the unknown face to face. The universe suddenly felt smaller. And warmer. And infinitely more hopeful.